Assalamu alaikum students. So today we are going to start another chapter, that is the quality control of solid dosage forms, which include powders, granules, capsules, and especially tablets. So those tests that are applied in these solid dosage form, we are going to discuss them in today's lecture. So these are the contents for today's lecture. So the quality control of solid dosage forms, the tests that include uh, for checking the quality of especially compressed tablets, that is the journal appearance, weight variation test, mechanical strength test we can say that are performed, content uniformity test, disintegration test, and dissolution test. So these are the certain types of the tests that are applied for quality control of tablets. Basically, we say compressed tablets. So these quality control tests that are applied for the solid dosage form and especially the compressed tablets are divided into the two types. All the tests. One is the physical test, that is hardness, thickness, diameter, viability, disintegration, and weight variation tests. So they are type of certain physical tests that are applied. Second are the chemical tests through certain chemical or physicochemical or instrumental analysis. We are going to evaluate the certain components that include content uniformity, assay of active ingredients, dissolution test for all those powders, granules, tablets, and the capsules. So these are your solid dosage forms that are evaluated by these methods. So journal appearance test, in which first thing we are going to check is their journal size and the shape. So they may be large, small. In case of tablets, they may be oval, they may be round, they may be in cube form, or they may be in triangle or any other possible shape that is applied by the manufacturer. And second we have is the organoleptic properties, that is what is type of the color that is applied for the tablet or the granule or the powder or the capsule, and their particular order, whether there is any sort of flavoring agent is being used or not, and their texture. Okay, either they are smooth, they are gritty, they are means glossy in appearance. So depending upon the type of dosage form like powder, granules, capsule, their texture may vary, and we have to verify our products texture that should be according to the instructions that are provided by the master formula. Uniformity of the diameter test, which is applied for uncoated tablets mostly, and this is investigated by measuring the diameter of 20 randomly taken tablets and calculate the average diameter with the help of an instrument like vernier caliper, like micrometer, screw gauge, or any sort of digital instrument can be also applied to check the diameter. Now, in the picture, you can see there's some sort of vernier caliper with a digital meter is there, which is automatically calculating the diameter of the tablet or the any size of the tablet which is placed in between the in these external jaws. So after calculating the average and the individual diameter of the 20 tablets, you have to compare the result with the standard that the allowed limit for certain type of the tablets. So the limits it says if the stated diameter is less than 12.5 mm, a deviation of 5% of the average diameter is allowed. Means if the master formula or the monograph is stating a diameter of a tablet that is less than 12 mm, then deviation of 5% of the average diameter is allowed. Means if the average diameter, if the individual diameters are less than 12.5 mm, you have to calculate the 5% of that, and then you have to make a upper and lower limit for the acceptance of the tablets or rejection of the tablets. So in case of less than 12.5 mm, your allowed limit is 5%, whereas if it is larger, it says if the stated diameter exceeds 12.5 mm, a deviation of 3% of the average diameter is allowed. Means if your tablet is little bit larger in the diameter, that is more than the 12.5 mm, it can be 13, it can be more, but in that case as it is larger one, so there is less chance of variation is there. So a deviation of only 3% of the average diameter is allowed. So in case your tablet is having the diameter that is larger or more than the 12.5 mm, it is 13, it's 14 or somewhat 14.5 mm in diameter, you have to calculate the 3% of that 13 or 14 mm, and then you have to place a range for the acceptance of the tablets that are being tested. Second test we have is the uniformity of thickness. So in this test it says it investigated by measuring the thickness of 20 randomly taken tablets and calculate the average thickness. So again, like diameter by using a vernier caliper or micrometer screw gauge or any sort of digital measuring instrument, you are going to take 20 tablets and you have to calculate their check their thickness, and you have to calculate the average of 20 tablet. uh, a limit that is provided for thickness. It says a deviation of 5% of the average thickness is allowed. So in the case of thickness, plus minus of 5% of the average weight is allowed. So whatever the thickness between 2 to 4 mm is there, you are going to calculate the 5% and you have to make a range by adding or subtracting that 5% value, and then comparing the thickness of each tablet with that acceptance criteria. Third test we have is the mechanical strength of tablets. So in that mechanical strength, it says it provides a measure of bonding potential of material. So whatever the test we are checking, that shows the measure of bonding potential of material, how much the compressed tablet material is capable of holding the material together and not breaking down into any particles or any pieces. So basically we are checking their strength. So it says the mechanical properties of pharmaceutical tablets are quantifiable, means we can check the mechanical strength or bonding potential of the material in a tablets. We are quantify it, we can calculate it by two methods. One is friability, second is hardness or crushing strength. So these are the two parameters that determine the mechanical strength or a measure of bonding potential of material of tablet. Friability test for tablets. So basically, the friability is a measure of surface hardness. Means in the tablets, how much the bonding capability of material is there, so that may not allow the shedding of the particle from the surface of the tablets, and it may try to maintain the smooth surface during certain processes. So it is also termed as surface hardness test, or we can say measure of surface hardness. So basically this test evaluate the ability of tablet to withstand abrasion in packaging, handling and shipping. So friability, as the name suggests, it is the ability of the tablet. It is the capability of the tablet that it can withstand the abrasions and the shocks uh, during the packaging, handling, and the shipping. So, whatever the surface hardness, surface smoothness is there, that should be maintained. So, that is the capability. We are checking their capability to maintain that surface hardness, to maintain that smoothness, to maintain that bonding potential during the procedures or processes or like packaging, handling, and shipping. So that is the measure of their ability, so that they are not shedding any sort of particle and maintaining their original physical shape. So basically for this test we are commonly using a fibrillator, and mostly in that case Roche fibrillator, the Roche company fibrillator is mostly preferred one. So the instrument that we are using for this test is the fibrillator, and mostly preferred one is the Roche. So in this test, basically tablets are subjected to combined effects of abrasion and shock. So for checking their surface strength, their capability to withstand, to uh, resist the effects of the packaging and the handling and the shipping. So therefore, similar type of the abrasions or the shocks are provided to the sample, so that can the sample is subjected towards these combined effects, so that you can evaluate their strength, their ability to withstand, to resist the uh, shocks or the problems or the abrasion that are caused by the packaging, handling, and shipping. Friability test for tablets. So it is investigated by measuring the friability of 10 to 20 randomly selected tablets. So the journal range depending upon the manufacturer instructions. Generally 10 to 20 tablets are selected for this test. So whatever the sample you have selected, you have to de-dust them, and you have to weigh them all together. So whether 10 or 20 tablets or whatever the number you have selected, you have to de-dust them, means you remove the any sort of dust available in the tablets to avoid any sort of confusion, and then you have to weigh them. So you have to record the weight and you have to place the sample in the fibrillator, your instrument for fibrillary test. So the instrument is operated for 100 revolutions, after which the tablets are dusted and reweighed. So in this case you have to take two weights. Okay, you have to take sample, you have to remove any dust if it is available, and you have to weigh them, and then you have to record that weight and you have to place your sample in the instrument. And after this all operation, either that is for 100 revolutions or that is for the 4 minutes, you have to remove your tablets from the instrument and again reweigh them and record the weight. So after you have performed all the procedure, you have to calculate the percent loss in weight due to shocks by using formula. So we are checking the friability in terms of percent loss in the weight that was caused by the shocks and the abrasion by the instrument with the help of formula, that is percent weight loss is equal to W1 minus W2 divided by W1 multiplied by 100. So in this formula, W1 is the weight of tablets before the test and the W2 is the weight of tablets after the test. So whatever the difference in the weight occurred in terms of percent, we are going to calculate and compare with the certain type of the standard, which is, so it says conventional compressed tablets that lose less than 0.5% to 1% of the weight are considered acceptable. So journal acceptable limits for the normal conventional compressed tablet is basically less than the 1%. If your result is coming after putting the values in the formula is less than 1%, it may be 0.5%, maybe 0.6%, or zero point 0.8 or up to 0.9%, then your sample has passed the friability test. So sample criteria, generally we are going to take 10 to 20 tablet for the friability test, but there is also certain specific criteria in the case when you are dealing with certain type of potent drug, as well as the unit weight of the tablet is much less. Usually it says for tablets with unit weight of equal to or less than 650 mg, take a sample of whole tablets corresponding as near as possible to 6.5 gram. Means ke if your tablet unit weight, one tablet total weight along with the active as well as the excipient, it is about equal to the 650 mg or it is less. So it can be 350 mg, it can be 250 mg total weight of the tablet, or it can be much less as well. So in that case, you are not going to take number of the tablet. You are going to take the amount that is equal to about 6.5 gram. Means when you are dealing with the uh, small size tablets and the very potent drug containing tablets, then number of tablets are not tested because they won't provide you the adequate result. So in that case, the amount is taken in the sample amount taken in gram for this friability test. The fibrillator, the instrument that is used for the friability test, having the rotating drum that is attached with the instrument for performing, maintaining the 100 revolutions, or we can say the 25 rpm per minute, and the timer we have selected is the about 4 minutes Either you are going to upgrade the apparatus for 100 revolutions, or you are going to upgrade the apparatus for 4 minutes with 25 rpm. Hardness test for tablets, or uniformity in the hardness of tablets. So this test is done, or you can say it's investigated by measuring the hardness of 10 to 20 randomly selected tablets and calculate the average. Again, you have to take 10 or 20 depending upon the instructions provided by the master formula. You can take the sample and you have to measure the hardness of each tablet, and you have to then calculate the average. So whatever the result is observed or measured in the different instrument, that is in the form of kgs. So limit for this hardness test for tablets. So it says that deviation of 5% of the average value is allowed. So whatever the average or limit is there for any sort of tablet, a deviation or we can say plus minus 5% of that value is allowed. So a range of plus 5 and minus 5% of the average or the standard prescribed value. You have to keep the hardness in between that. So standard values are, we can say, approximate limits uh, for the different types of the tablets. That is, for oral tablets, the range is between 4 to 8, and according to some references, it can be up to 10 kgs. Whereas for chewable or hypodermic tablets, it's approximately 3 kg. For sustained release tablets, that has the more hardness, more stable one, they are to sustain the uh, stability of the product. So it is between 10 to 20 kg. So for performing the hardness test, there are various types of the hardness tester that are used. Usually there are 5 types. Monsanto hardness tester, or another name is Stroke hardness tester. Then we have strong COP tester, Pfizer tester, Uveca tester, and Schellinger or Haber tester. So among these, the initial 3 are usually uh, manually handled hardness testers, whereas the remaining 2 are some sort of digital one, which provide you the digitally calculated hardness, and these can be providing you only hardness tests, as well as there are these very sophisticated instruments in which you can determine the thickness, diameter, and the hardness simultaneously in a same instrument. So depending upon the requirement, budget, you can perform these tests uh, by these instruments. So this slide is showing you the Monsanto, the manual hardness tester, or we can say the Strokes hardness tester, and another we have is the instrument that provide the digital calculation, digital result for your hardness test. Next test we have is weight variation test for the tablets, and for this purpose, uh, it says this method, this test is applicable when the tablet contains 50% or more of the drug substance. Means this test will be more valuable when your drug content is more than 50% and remaining your excipient. Means when your excipient content is comparatively less than the active one, this test become more beneficial for evaluating the quality of the tablets. So, weight variation test is investigated by measuring the weight of 20 randomly selected tablets and calculating the average. Means you have to take 20 tablets, you have to weigh them individually, and then add all the weights and calculate the average one. So, to pass this test, out of 20 tablets tested, 18 tablets must have weight within the limits specified in the monograph. Okay, so there's only allowed deviation is 2 tablets. Okay, so 20, we will try all the 20 should be within the specified limit, but still there's the chances of variation. So 2 tablets can deviate among the 20 tablets from the initial criteria, what is whatever is provided for the weight variation test in the monograph, and then whatever 2 tablets that are showing the deviation must not deviate more than the double of the percentage allowed. So the second criteria is also there, whatever the allowed first criteria is there, in which among 20, 18 must be present, and remaining two that are deviating, the initial criteria's double percentage is also calculated. So those two tablets must be within that uh, allowed percentage for the deviated tablets. Okay, so USP limit, uh, allowed limit for the deviation or the percentage uh, in up to which the variation is allowed. Means if your weight, average weight is 130 mg or less, whatever the tablets you have weighed, you have calculated the average, and if that average is 130 mg or less, then according to USP, the allowed limit of variation is 10%. Means you have to calculate the 10% of the 130 or whatever less, you can say 120 mg, 100 mg, 15 mg, and whatever. So 130 or less, whatever the result is there, you have to calculate the 10%, and then you have to add and subtract to make a upper and lower control limit, and then within that limit your 20 tablets tested are compared, and among them 18 must be within this range. Okay, 18 must be within this range plus minus 10%, and the remaining two that are deviating should be within double of this allowed percentage. So initial 10%, you can say additional double of it, and that 20 two tablets must be within that additional allowed limit, so that should not exceed that one. Similarly, if your tablets average weight is more than 130 mg and it's up to 324 mg, means in between 130 and uh, 324, in that case if it's 250 mg, it can be 300 mg and so on, that then you have to calculate the difference that is allowed is 7.5%, and your 20 tablets uh, weight, they must be compared within this limit, and again at least 18 should be within this. Similarly, if the tablet has the weight more than 324 mg, the allowed percentage is 5%. So 18, at least 18 must be within that plus minus 5% range, and remaining two, as discussed earlier, they should be within the double of it. So another pharmacopoeia limit, that is according to British Pharmacopoeia. So in that case, if the average weight is 80 mg or less, the allowed limit is 10%, and in case of 80 to 250 mg, the allowed percentage is 7.5%. For more than 250 mg, the allowed percentage is 5%. So depending upon the pharmacopoeia that is being followed in the master formula, you have to compare your result according to it. So these are the references for today's lecture. Thank you.